A lot of people ask, what made you decide to plant a church? And honestly, church planting was never part of the plan for us. In fact, people throughout our ministry would ask, hey, have you ever thought of planting a church one day down the road? And we would immediately just shut it down, because I don't have the personality for that. And we don't know what we're doing, and it's just way too scary. And so we always shut it down. And yet, in December of 2018, we felt like God was wanting to do something new in our lives, and yet this idea of church planting just would not go away. And so I had a conversation with Danielle, and I said, for whatever reason, I just can't get this out of my mind, and I don't know if this is God, but I think that we should pray about this. And so we took some time to fast and pray, and during this season of fasting and praying, the best way that I can describe it is God just convinced us. More than convinced us. It's like He revealed this hidden dream that had been in our heart this whole time.
So it's been pretty amazing just to kind of look back and see all the places that we've been, all the highs and lows that we've personally gone through. Even our move across the country here to Washington has really all led up to this moment in time, to this place to start this church, and we're so excited.
I remember early on, and this was before we had told anybody about this yet, and so there were still all these doubts and just insecurities, and I just remember driving one night. It was in the evening, and I could see Mount Rainier with the sun setting down on it, and I just remember praying and asking God, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can bring my family into this. God, are you sure? It's not too late to back out. We haven't told anybody yet. And I felt like God speak to me in such a real way. And what He said, I'll never forget it. And He said, Kirby, if you'll just do what I'm asking you to do, I'm going to get so much glory. And that's all that Danielle and I have ever wanted. We want God to have glory, and we just feel like us saying yes to His call in our life, that He is going to get glory through Pioneer Church. And so that was the moment where in my heart I said, yes, God, we're going to do this, and I'm not going to ask you about this anymore. And since we have said yes and not looked back, God has given us such a burden for this. He's given us such a love in our heart for people we don't even know yet. And we just sense His peace and His presence throughout this whole plan of His.
Obviously, the next question after that would be, where would we church plant? And it really didn't take long before Auburn kind of came into focus. We've been living here in the area for almost 5 years now, and have really fallen in love with the area, Mount Rainier, the people. But even more than that, our hearts have really been broken. This is an area that is full of hurting people, a lot of brokenness, and we believe that a lot of that is because, most of it is because this area is so untouched by the gospel.
Yeah, and if you look at a lot of the statistics for the Seattle-Tacoma area, it's regularly in the top 10 most post-Christian cities. Less than 10% of the population, including Auburn, are not actively going to church. And so this is in fact one of the most unreached areas in the United States. The majority of people in this area are actively moving into an eternity without a relationship with Jesus, and we just can't ignore that anymore. Because we have the answer, and we sense that God is calling us to do something about what it is that we now know.
And so that's why we're starting Pioneer Church. A pioneer goes into the wilderness, and it makes a way for others to follow. And that's exactly what we want to do with our church. We want our church to be a place where people feel loved, where they feel valued, where they feel connected, and that they truly experience God, not just with a knowledge, but a life-changing way.
And look, we know that this is going to be hard. There's a very real fear to this that we have, and there's all sorts of anxieties and unanswered questions. But I think the best question that we can ask ourselves is, how can we not do something with what we know? Because as discouraging as those statistics are, we truly do believe that the church is the hope of the world. In fact, I'll go further and say that the church is the hope of Auburn, Washington. And we believe that God wants to do something new. We think that He wants the best for people in Auburn, and we think that He's going to breathe life into Western Washington.
And here's what we know for sure, is that there's no way that we can do this on our own, which is why we're asking you to consider being a part of making the dream of Pioneer Church a reality. And there's lots of ways to get involved with that, like joining our prayer team, giving financially, and even coming with us and being a part of our church planting team. We'd love to meet you over coffee and talk more about how we're going to do this thing. And even if you're not in the area and maybe you can't come be a part of our team or give financially, you might know somebody or are connected to somebody that you think would love to be a part of this, and we'd love for you to connect them with us.
Yeah. We just want to thank you so much for watching this video, hearing a little bit about our heart. If any of this has resonated with you, we would love to talk with you further about what you can do to help us create a place that will make the city of Auburn better. A place where people can know God, find community, discover purpose, and make a difference.